It's time now for Helping Seniors of Brevard. As we get the program underway, let's check in with the host and executive director of Helping Seniors of Brevard. Here's Kerry Fink. Hi, Kerry.
Hey, John Harper. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderfully wonderful this afternoon, this Wednesday afternoon. It's kind of hot out there, but nonetheless, it's the middle of August. What can you expect?
It's August in Florida, and it is all good. And welcome to Helping Seniors Radio. We always gather together around the radio at 12 noon, lunchtime hour, each Wednesday here on 90.3 FM WEJF Radio. And welcome also to our online listeners who are joining us on WEJF.net. Our guest today is going to be Dr. Lee Sheldon, who's a noted area periodontist. He's kind of nationally recognized in that field, and we're going to have a really interesting discussion today around this. I call it a kind of an interesting topic. It's actually something that his office had sent out. You know how businesses will do blasts through email to kind of keep people apprised of things that they want you to know about. And he just wrote a very interesting article called The Have-Tos and the Want-Tos. And so that's going to be our focus. Not only is it speaks to his specialty, which is dentistry and periodontics, but it's actually also going to cover a little bit what happens even when you're thinking about things when you go to the doctor and they say, hey, do you want to think about this, or this might help you? And I think we're going to have a really good discussion on that as we go along today. But I wanted to, before we get there, wanted to have a little bit of a conversation actually with John Harper. We were both just out having a great time this past weekend when we were over there at Boniface Hires Mazda. And so I'm gonna ask John a little bit. We were both out there, and in fact, actually, there were a lot of people out there for this event. What it was the Mazda Miata celebration, and it was really a lot of fun. It's one of the ways that we're talking up the Helping Seniors car raffle.
It's an awesome August, right?
It really was. We were calling it Automotive August.
Automotive August.
Yeah, and not only was there great barbecue. Dennis Mannion, who's one of the Helping Seniors board members, actually just like you are, John Harper, he is a pit master, and he does everything. He knows how to make some amazing barbecue, and that's all I heard last Saturday.
Did you know how he barbecues some of that? He has, talk about high technology. It's entered the barbecue world. No longer are you just dealing with briquettes on a barbecue pit and flipping the meat over. He's got cameras. Check this out. He's got cameras focused on the meat, and he's got a temperature gauge where he can adjust that temperature up and down depending on what he needs to make sure the meat is cooking properly.
It really is fascinating.
It's high tech.
I remember him showing me an app on his phone, and he's like, look, I'm checking what's going on right now. So not only was it, he's very skilled at that, but everybody really enjoyed the lunch out there. But the point was, John, we have 4 great cars in the 2021 Helping Seniors Car Raffle fundraiser. And again, for those of you that may be new to this, we're a nonprofit charity. We need your help to stay in existence. When our president and founder, Joe Steckler, started Helping Seniors literally over 10 years ago now, his whole point was we need to establish the county's senior information helpline so people know how to call a number and get somebody that can trust that will help point them in the right direction, or better yet, help them walk step by step through a particular situation. And so now for 10 plus years, we've helped more than 3,500 families free of charge. And John, as you know, we get calls about everything. It's from transportation to housing, it's medical, it's financial, it's calls about roofing, it's calls about medications. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And so we need your help to keep to keep everything that we're doing with Helping Seniors going along. And one of the ways that you can do that is by buying a Helping Seniors car raffle ticket. And so on October 9th, somebody's going to get their choice of a brand new 2021 Chevrolet Camaro, 2021 Dodge Challenger, 2021 Kia Sportage, or a 2021 Mazda Miata convertible. And John, that's why we were out there at Mazda last weekend, is because we want everybody to have a chance as they're trying to decide which car they're going to choose when they win. that wanted to have a chance to get up close and personal with that Mazda Miata. And it was so wonderful to not only eat great barbecue, but to get a chance to look at those 2021 Mazdas that they had on the lot there. But I thought it was particularly intriguing to see the guys who had classic Mazdas who came out to support. They were spit polished. I mean, you could have eaten off of the.
Yeah, they were beautiful. Beautiful cars.
It was really incredible. And so it's all part of Automotive August. And so what's going to happen is this month, we took a look at Mazda. If you missed it, no worries. You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our Helping Seniors of Brevard.org page. You can go to our YouTube channel, and you'll see some videos. I saw you, John, doing an interview with a lady who was actually the winner in the 2019
right.
Helping
and her little dog Leo.
That's right. You guys look great on camera, and it was so neat to hear her tell the story that she just showed up, bought the ticket, and didn't even believe that she won the car.
So that was kind of interesting. She was fun to talk to, and little Leo, the dog, he was a little cutie, and enjoyed having him there for the interview as well.
Yeah, and Joe Steckler, our president and founder, along with Terry, they were both out there meeting and greeting everybody. And so the point is, we're going to do this throughout the month. So go ahead and mark down, get a piece of paper. So I'm going to give you some information.
It's not a December to remember. It's an awesome August.
That'll work. I like it.
Automotive August.
Automotive August. And what we want everybody to do is have a chance to really look at these cars and decide when they pull your name out of that barrel on October 9th, which car are you going to take? And I know everybody has preconceived notions. I think, John, you've said you like the Dodge Challenger.
Yeah, that's nice.
And there's a lot of people who are in that camp. But then we were talking Saturday, for example, with Vicki Moore, who was out there from Care Plus Health Plans. And she said, you know what? I drive a Mazda, but my dream car would be to have this Mazda Miata convertible. So it's different things, and that's the fun of this whole thing. You're helping us keep the work of helping seniors going, and you're also having a lot of fun because even if you don't win the car, you're going to have a great time at the American Muscle Car Museum October 9th.
Yeah.
But you might win, so you might as well do your homework and figure out which car you want. So this weekend, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., you want to be out at Boniface Hires Kia because we're going to focus on the Kia Sportage this weekend. Now, for those of you, if you've driven down 192 lately, you'll see this huge, brand new, state-of-the-art, sparkling clean facility right there where Boniface Hires Kia has moved to. Last year, we went and visited them. They were in their other location. Now they're in this brand new, state-of-the-art facility. We got to be out there week before last to scope out where Dennis was going to set up the barbecue and all that. And again, it's free barbecue lunch, so come on out while supplies last, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You'll look for the Kia Sportage. They're going to bring all kinds of Kias around so you can just crawl in and out of them, take a look, decide if that's a great car for you. And the most important thing that you can do that helps us in helping seniors is buy your car raffle ticket. And we'll, of course, make sure that you can get those tickets there on site. If you can't wait, just call Kim Bernard on our Senior Information Helpline, 321-473-7770. Or you can always get tickets and information at helpingseniorscarraffle.com. And we're really excited about it. We've had so many people that are excited about the car raffle this year. Last year, you know, John, we weren't able to go into the museum because of COVID. We had to stand outside. We did Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and we made sure everybody could participate that way. But Mark Pylock, the owner of the American Muscle Car Museum, being the kind of great guy that he is, and he said, look, I want the seniors to have the chance to get into the museum. So not only are we going to have the grand drawing on October 9th, but this is another date you want to put on your calendar. It's Sunday, September 12th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And that is going to be your moment to come out and spend a Sunday at the museum. And John, as you know, the cars, I mean, you don't have to be a car buff. You just walk into this like airplane hangar full, and it's just impressive to see.
It really is. Huge airplane hangar is almost an understatement. I don't think I've ever been in a car museum as large as this one, and with so many different types of cars on the floor, all in pristine condition, like they just came out of the showroom or out of the factory in Detroit. and just beautiful cars. You name the model, you name the car manufacturer, and chances are it's there.
Yeah, that's actually the fun part of this whole thing. People say, it's amazing when we're out and about and start talking to people, and they say, well, I don't know about this museum. Where is it? And I said, well, It doesn't have signs because basically it's this guy's garage. Like you and I have a garage and we stick our car in the garage. And
on mine, you can't get the car in with all the.
But this garage is like a garage to end all garages. It's just like, and we were talking about the fact every time you go back, now it's like double stacked. He has a car, and then he's got so many cars now, he's got those lifts where he'll put one car over the other. And it's just fascinating. We spent some time on Chevrolet Row and Dodge Row earlier this year, and those videos are out on the Helping Seniors site. So you got to get involved. Tell your friends to get involved. And it's the Helping Seniors car raffle. One ticket is $25, 5 tickets for a $100 donation. And again, hope we will see you at Boniface Hires Kia this Saturday for free lunch and great fun with the Kias there on US 192.
At an awesome automotive August to remember.
Now, that'll be good. So, looking forward to getting into the part of the show where we get to talk with none other than Dr. Lee Sheldon, who has been a longtime friend of Helping Seniors. And I think I asked him last radio show which car he preferred. And if I'm not making this up, I think he told me it was the Mazda Miata. Is that right, Dr. Sheldon?
It is, Kerry. You have such a great memory.
Yes. How are you?
Are you saying that I won?
No, but your office is a place that people can stop by and pick up Helping Seniors car raffle tickets.
That's right.
Yeah. And so they are selling, but even Dr. Sheldon, I often tell people, because we get asked this question. In fact, I think Kim had this question this morning. Somebody had called in and said, well, how many tickets, do you guys sell? And so if you've ever been to Vegas or if you've ever played Powerball, your odds are like 1 in, bazillion.
Right.
You have a better chance of getting hit by lightning or something. But what's really fascinating is because this is a local charity and it supports the local work and it's primarily local people who get behind the work of Helping Seniors. We're talking the tickets are a few thousand at most. And so what happens is then if you're a gambling type, then you can look at those odds and go, well, this is a pretty good deal. But I always go, you're a winner no matter what, because you get to spend, first of all, you're helping seniors, which should give you a good feeling anyway. But secondly, you also are a winner because each ticket is one to the American Muscle Car Museum, and that alone is worth your $25 donation.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You haven't been there. Even if you have been there, I mean, it's just a great experience. It's like reliving your childhood in some cases.
It is. I got to tell you, I'm not the expert of the muscle cars and things like that, but I love to tell this story because I remember being a teenager and I thought one of the coolest cars that was achievable at that time was a Chevrolet Vega. Don't start laughing. And he has
I had one.
Okay. So he has like a 1973, I think it's a 73 Chevrolet Vega in there that never hit the road. It's got 8 miles on it. I guess somebody took it out of the dealership and protected it ever since. So it is like a time capsule by itself. And there's actually some unique stories behind it because Ed Diedick, who's the operations manager there, was telling it. Every car, it's not just he says, oh, I'm going to have this car and put it in here. There's a significant story behind each car. And so when you wander around, that's why you really need both of these days this year, because you can go in Sunday, September 12th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's really the make good for the 2020 folks who bought tickets last year but couldn't go in there. But we'll honor any Helping Seniors car raffle ticket, 2021 or this is our 5th annual car raffle. Just bring us a ticket. You're welcome in the museum. But every car has a story, Dr. Sheldon. It's fascinating. And they've got like little placards and you can read all about it. It's incredible.
Do you know what I thought of? I don't know. I mean, you're younger than I am. John, you may remember. Do you remember Ralph Nader's first book, Unsafe at Any Speed?
Oh, I do remember that. Unsafe at Any Speed.
And that wasn't a Chevy Vega. That was the Chevy Corvair.
Ah, yeah.
speaking of stories, I mean, that launched Ralph Nader's career. I wonder if there's a Chevy Corvair at the Muscle Car Museum.
I want to say I thought I saw one there, and John is nodding his head. You saw one there too, huh?
Yeah, I did see one there. There was one there.
So and again, it's not like he just puts random cars in there. Every car has a story. Last year, they took us through a private tour of the museum where we were getting to film stuff to share on the Helping Seniors as we're building up interest for the car raffle. And so we get to this particular, I can't even tell you the brand of the car because I'm that non-car knowledgeable, but we get there and he hands me this model. It's like one of those big die-cast models that you see at Define hobby stores. And he says, hold that for the camera. So I'm standing there holding that for the camera. And we're standing in front of the car who is that car. And he says they actually came to get that car to make this model. So, I mean, every car that you look at that Mark has in his collection has some kind of amazing story behind it.
He spent so much time. First of all, he built that beautiful building.
Right.
But he spent so much time selecting his cars.
Yeah.
And you're right. And there is a story behind them. I mean, this is his love, this is his passion. And to have this kind of a museum right here in Melbourne, Florida, my God, I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. And so, again, you can get your Helping Seniors car raffle tickets. Just pop by Dr. Sheldon's office right there on Sarno Road. And you've got tickets there that they can set you up with in the lobby. You can also get your tickets at any of the Boniface Hires dealerships. You can call 321-473-7770, which is a great number to remember anyway, because that is our Helping Seniors info line. And to date, I mean, that's our main service to the community, Dr. Sheldon. For 10 plus years, when Joe established that, we've helped 3,500 families now plus. Free of charge, and it's seniors and the families that care for seniors, and because of the knowledge and experience, they usually know how to get somebody connected in a direction that really makes a difference. And I'm really amazed.
You think anybody can become a Helping Seniors provider? You can't.
No,
you can't.
No, Joe is really
pretty well screened.
Yeah, that's right. You said it right. You said it's right. So Dr. Sheldon, let's move along. Actually, we've talked a good bit about the raffle, but I really hope we'll see you out there for the celebration of Kia, which happens Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Free barbecue lunch. Check out the cars, get your tickets, and then we'll see you at the American Muscle Car Museum not once but twice this year. But let's talk a little bit about what we had thought would be good. I really was fascinated because I know you're good about keeping the community informed on different things, and I'd gotten this email that I guess you send around to a lot of interested people, and I love the title about it. It was called The Have-Tos and the Want-Tos, and I immediately thought, well, there's things that we probably have to do about our teeth, but then there's also things that we would love to be able to do at some point, and I guess those would be the Want-Tos. And it was just a fascinating title and a fascinating article.
When patients come into me for a second opinion, they have this laundry list of items that have been recommended to them by other dentists, and some of those recommendations may be very good, but it becomes overwhelming. It becomes overwhelming from a treatment standpoint. It becomes overwhelming from a cost standpoint. It becomes overwhelming, even to the point where you're saying, "I'm not sure what I'm going to get when I'm all done." And years ago, I said, it's true. It's true. I'll see a patient for a half an hour, and I'm going through and I'm talking with one of my treatment coordinators who are really, really good. I mean, they understand what I'm saying. And so the treatment coordinator is really the one who's talking with the patient, who's trying to define what needs to be done and the order that I'm recommending. But further than that, it's what do you need to treat and what do you want to treat. So dentistry is expensive, and I understand that. And the most expensive dentistry is dentistry they have to do a second time. So we want to make sure that any time we're doing dentistry, that we're doing it only once. Now, can we guarantee that? No, but I mean, the thought process has to be, and I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about anybody. We want to do we want to do it once and then get a long-term result. But further than that, people can be overwhelmed by what needs to be done and what they want to have done. And what they want to have done is to be able to smile and chew. But what needs to be done is to get rid of infections.
Right.
The first thing that I'm looking for, listen, on one side I'm a decorator. on the other side I'm a healthcare provider.
Right.
Okay, we got to provide the healthcare before we do the decoration.
Right.
And so if a person wants to know how treatment can be phased in, the way we phase in treatment is first to take care of the infections, which are relatively inexpensive to treat.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can get into the more expensive work, the decorating work, later on.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're talking about the half-toos and the want-toos, it would be the teeth that have cavities, the teeth that have periodontal disease, the teeth that may need root canals, and we have to decide whether it's better for you financially and from a predictable standpoint to save the tooth by a root canal or to extract the tooth and replace it down the line with something else. But those are the things we've got to get done. Get the infections done first, the periodontal disease, the tooth decay, and the abscesses or the infections in the bone. And once we get that out of the way, then we can start to do the decorating. And what's interesting is that you don't necessarily have to do it. You should get the have-tos done all at one time, or as quickly as you can, because they can be dangerous for you. But in terms of the decorating can often be phased in.
I was going to ask you, this probably sounds like a melodramatic word, but it sounds like, it's triage. Let's take care of the stuff that really is beneficial and needs to be done, because I've been around you long enough to have heard you've done shows with Joe over the years, and I've been around you long enough that I've understood that you see a pretty big connection with what's going on with the health of your mouth, with oftentimes things that are running all through your body. And I know we're going to have to cover a lot of this on the second side of the show, but, that to me is just a fascinating thought by itself.
Well, it is. I just came upstairs from a patient who, she's suffering from a lot of problems, and she's relatively young. She's in her early 40s. She's suffering from a number of problems which could be described as emotional problems, and she's suffering from physical problems as well.
Wow.
And now, superimposed upon all that is a dental problem or a periodontal problem.
Wow.
So there's certain questions that we have as far as the dental problem. This dental problem only showed up 4 months ago. Somebody who has periodontal disease never had periodontal disease before.
Wow.
And how does she recognize the periodontal disease? She recognizes it because her gums hurt. That doesn't happen very often, but it happened to her. Mm-hmm. And as a result of her gums hurting, she started to change some of the other things that she was doing that were helping her health-wise, but now she thought it was hurting her gums, so then she stopped that. And now we've got to balance this emotional, physical, and dental periodontal all at the same time and get her to the point where she's a healthy human being again.
Wow.
There are some balancing acts that we have to do as healthcare providers, even though we're dentists, and you think of us as taking care of teeth and drilling and filling and crowning and that kind of stuff. There are things that we need to do in order to be able to balance things out so that they have both a healthy dental result and they're not compromising their medical their medical support as well.
Yeah, no, that is so important. And we're going to continue this discussion with Dr. Lee Sheldon, the have-tos and the want-tos. And it's actually a discussion both about dentistry and even on a bigger scale about healthcare. Real quick, before we go to break, just a number. If somebody wants to give a call to your office and maybe ask more questions or say, hey, you prompted me to think about something. What's that number?
321-259-8000.
Great. And we will be right back with the second half of Helping Seniors Radio.
90.3 FM, WEJF. You're listening to Helping Seniors of Brevard as we get the second half of our show underway. Once again, here's Kerry Fink.
Thank you, John Harper. And yes, again, on behalf of Joe Steckler, our president and founder, and Kim Bernard, our education specialist, welcome back. We gather around the radio every Wednesday at 12 noon, from 12 noon to 1 p.m., right here on 90.3 FM WEJF. And again, a greeting to everybody who's joining us online at WEJF.net. And for those of you who will listen to this later, because we put all these into a podcast, and then people will come back for some time to come, and they'll find them on our Helping Seniors YouTube channel, our Helping Seniors Facebook page, and certainly at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, our webpage. And, we were having a really good discussion with Dr. Lee Sheldon, who's noted area periodontist, a nationally kind of recognized figure in his field.
Oh, guess what? I forgot to tell you.
Yes.
We had our first article published nationally on Frankfurt Calculus.
Wow.
Actually, we had a second one published. It was
wow.
But this is the first one where I was an author on it, so
Wow.
it made it into a national publication.
Hey.
So anyway.
So Helping Seniors could maybe take some credit for this, right? Because we could say we
Absolutely.
broke the story
Helping Seniors
on the radio
could take
here, right? Seriously, speaking of important, one of the reasons why we do archive everything is because we find Kim can tell you the story. She'll get calls from people who ran in, because we all Google search things now, right? And so all of a sudden somebody will call Kim, and it'll be in relation to something that maybe Joe recorded, 5, 6, 7 years ago, but it just hit them at the right moment that they need an answer to a particular question, and it prompts them to call in. So the point is, this whole thing that you've been on about the fractured calculus, I think we did 1 or 2 radio programs about that, right?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. And so now it's being kind of peer recognized and going national, huh?
Yeah, actually, it was picked up by somebody, a periodontist who is editor of a national publication, and he's in New York.
Wow!
And so he was an author. We had an author in California, and me in Florida. So we pretty much crisscrossed the country with authorship. So yeah, it's in a publication called Perio Implant Advisory.
I guess that's not one we look for at a newsstand near us, right?
You're right.
No, but it's so important, and it shows the leadership that you have in this industry. And again, we're talking with Dr. Lee Sheldon, who is known for being a longtime area periodontist. You kind of pioneered the way with implants. You have Solid Bite Dental. You have a full service practice. Your son, who is one of the what is his title? He earned the designation.
Best. Last year he was one of the top 40 dentists under the age of 40.
And then you have another terrific periodontist that you work side by side with, Dr. Michelle Furtado, and you guys are just like known for what you do. But the conversation that we've been having on the radio today is about trying to sort between have-tos and want-tos. And when we had to jump to the mid-show break, you were telling a story that I thought is probably a great landing point to just jump right back into the conversation, because you were describing a lady that had been in the office, and you were now trying to deal with periodontal disease and some other things that she might want to do, maybe that help things look better. But how do you start to make decisions when you're advising patients? You get like this case that walks in the door and they say, well, here's what I'm thinking, and then you're having to add more medical stuff into it or dental stuff into it as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you more to the story. More to the story that I have not revealed. This is the first time this has ever happened. She was in the car. She was channel flipping on the radio, and came up on one of our interviews. I don't know whether it was last month or the month before. And then she called. I guess it must have been last month. And then she called. The office.
Wow.
So that's that part of the story. I said, "How'd you happen to be listening to WEJF?" She said, "I don't know. I was just flipping, and I heard your voice, and I stopped there."
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah. So, I got to tell you, the longer I'm in this, and of course I'm in my twilight years in this, the more interesting the stories become. And maybe at my age, I'm more willing to listen to the stories. I'm not sure. Everybody has priorities in life, and that's why when we went to the break, Kerry, you said what we're talking about applies to medical care as well.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, it applies to every aspect of our life.
Mm-hmm.
We are sometimes, I hate to use the word victim because I hate the word, but I'll say it anyway. We're a victim of sales. You know, that somebody will sell us something that we may not want or we may not need, but the person convinces us that we do. I think people are more attuned to that now than they were, let's say, 20 or 30 years ago, but maybe not. I mean, part of the reason we have Helping Seniors of Brevard County to begin with is because people are scammed, and therefore we need an organization where people can call and know that the people that they're going to be referred to are people who have the interest of the client at heart.
Right.
That they're not selling, and so I think we've got to look at that first. You know, it's more of an honesty and ethics type of thing that we've got to look at.
Yeah, so, I wanted to interject one thing there because, you know, I find it fascinating that you're like the guy who really was in on establishing dental implants, and then as we see over and over, you know, you can't almost turn on your TV without somebody saying, "Oh, you can this, you can that," and yet you've done TV shows, you've done radio shows where there was like a couple things. Are too many teeth being extracted is one of the titles I remember. Is a dental implant always the best answer is another. And I kind of find it fascinating that while you're a guy who specializes in that, you're really concerned more with the entire picture for the patient.
You know, it's important because everything can be, first of all, a commercial. And I don't care whether you're reading our magazine or looking at our website or looking at a commercial on TV. It all looks great. Everything's fantastic, and there's never any problem, and everybody ends up smiling because you see them 6 months later, and they're wonderful. And we buy on emotion. We always buy on emotion. You know, we buy the dress on emotion. We buy the car on emotion.
Right.
Or we win the Mazda Miata on
I'm
emotion.
all for that.
So it's, you come into a dentist in tons of pain and you say, "I'll do anything to get out of this."
Yeah.
The easiest way to get rid of dental pain is probably the cheapest way, and that's to extract a tooth.
Right.
So I think there have been times when a patient comes into my office in horrible pain, isn't able to speak, and certainly isn't able to think, maybe is able to speak a little bit, and I'll get the patient numb so we can have a decent conversation.
Wow, yeah.
You know, there are things that you just have to do in order to be able to get that person past that point. Nobody wants to be in our office anyway.
Right.
And we try to make the office as comfortable and as sharing an experience as we possibly can. But once we've done that, once we've got to that point, you have to make honest to goodness decisions. And when we're doing dental implants and we're doing the fancy work that we do, and you know, I don't do any of the work anymore. It's as Dr. Furtado, as Dr. Matt, they do all the work. I just sit here and bless it. When they're doing it and they're putting their hearts into it, and patients are putting their hearts and their wallets into it, boy, we want to make sure it's done right. But the last thing I want to do is say, fix this and fix that, when I don't think there's going to be a good long-term outcome as a result. Right. I had a person this morning, 29 years old, had decay all over the place, and when it came right down to it, and he said, "I've got a certain amount of money to spend," I said, I forget what it was. I said, by the time you get done spending that money, what he was willing to spend, you're still not going to have anything that's going to be worthwhile. I think you ought to save your money for dental implants and not spend the money on the teeth. Extract the teeth, put it in a denture, because by the time you get done spending the money you're willing to spend, I think you may have to spend that all over again.
Wow.
So here's a patient who did have infections. He does have discomfort, but he also has teeth malalignment problems. He has deep decay. He has a number of problems where I can say, sure, I can fix this, I can fix this, I can fix this, I can fix this, but it may, and the chance of his having to fix it again and spend more money just is so high that it just doesn't make any sense to spend a lot of money with me now on keeping those teeth. So here's a 29-year-old who I'm saying, extract half your teeth, extract all your upper teeth.
Wow.
I hate to say that on a 29-year-old, but he was he'd abused himself so much with with Coke and whatever sugary drinks. You probably shouldn't say Coke; that's no good. But with so many sugary drinks and abused himself so much for the first 29 years of his life that at that point you're saying, no, it doesn't make any sense to spend the money on that. On an older individual, then you've got other problems. You have people who have who have let things go, and you've got infections that are going into the jawbone, infections that are going into the sinus, all coming from the teeth. You've got to look at those. You've got to look at those very carefully, because now the teeth themselves have become a health risk. The patient will say, well, I want to hold on to the tooth at all costs. Well, it's giving you a sinus infection. What kind of a cost is that? So there's got to be a lot of judgment here in taking care of people and making sure the people are healthy and healthier on the way when they get all done than they were when they walked in. And I got to say, the judgment and the amount of time the dentist spends at the beginning in determining what the patient wants, understanding what the patient's budget is so we can spend the money correctly, is more important than the treatment itself.
And I think that also goes back to the wisdom of the person as you're kind of working your way through these have-tos and want-tos. You really need kind of a trusted advisor who is cognizant of what is best for you, but also experienced enough to help you kind of like sort out the priorities. Am I saying that in a way that makes sense?
You are, and the priorities. You might say, listen, I want my mouth looking good, and you might say, I don't have that much money to spend.
Right.
If that's your priority, you want your mouth looking good, we can make dentures look really good. And you don't have to spend the kind of money you have to spend on dental implants. Now, you can have a patient say, or a person say, to me they're a patient, everybody else they're a person, aren't they? Right. You can have a person say, I'm not sure I want to spend the money on dental implants. And I'll say, well, how about if we do the denture first and see if you like that? And if you like that, you don't have to spend all the money on the dental implants. And if you don't like it, we can always put in dental implants later on.
Right. You're giving somebody kind of a path forward.
It's true. So, I mean, we advertise and you see it on TV, extract the teeth, put the implants in, and put teeth in all in one day. That's great. It also costs some money.
Yeah.
Some people might say, I don't want to. Do I have to? Is it only done that way? Well, that's the new way. The old way was to extract the teeth, put in a denture, wear the denture for a few months, then put the implants in. That's the way we did it 30 years ago. We didn't do everything all at one time. So go back to the old way. The old way still works very, very well, and it gives you the opportunity of weighing the pros and cons on whether you want to spend the money in dentistry or whether you want to spend the money on something else. We all have finite resources, and we decide where we want to spend our money. I'm in business for people who spend money in dentistry, but we've got to be able to give them options so they can think through this, and they can think through this themselves, and they can climb into their own wallets, into their own emotional bank, and decide what's best for them. And as long as we have an open line of communication from the start to finish, then if the patient says, listen, I wanted a denture, but all right, now I see what you mean about dental implants, I'll get them now. All right, at least we've left that avenue open, and the person has gotten rid of his or her infections, has decorated himself or herself with something that's removable, and they're not that comfortable, but they're okay. And then can make another decision down the line, maybe 1, 2, 3 years down the line, saying, all right, I got it. I think I'm going to go to dental implants now.
You know, I was thinking as you're talking about this, and I think we're going to ask John Harper, I think actually also has a question, but before we get over there, I wanted to ask one more thing that I'm thinking about this from the patient standpoint, because this applies whether someone is coming to see you and say, hey, I need some help. I need to figure out what's going on with my mouth. Or perhaps they're even going to their, medical doctor's office. How would you, with your experience, advise us as the patient, either sitting in the chair or walking into that medical office? How would you advise us to speak with the dental or medical professional to communicate, well, this is what I think's going on, but at the same time, and this is what I think I want to do, but then at the same time be willing to hear back what the expert, might suggest or might say this is a way to approach that?
Well, let's take a patient, for example, that has hypertension, okay? Mm-hmm. So we got high blood pressure. The way I would approach the medical doctor would be this. First of all, I got hypertension. I got to get that under control. The first thing I would do would be to have the reason for that hypertension evaluated. And if the reason if in the evaluation it's determined that I need medication, by all means, you go on the medication to take care of the blood pressure. Mm-hmm. The difference is that I wouldn't stop there, mm-hmm. because the cause of the high blood pressure may be something that you're eating, that you're smoking. It may have something to do with a nutritional deficiency. There may be a number of reasons for the hypertension. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I would be looking at the pill as being the short-term solution, but always looking for a longer-term solution.
Right.
Now, maybe you'll get that solution from the medical doctor. Maybe you'll get it from a nutritionist.
Interesting.
And so that you just don't stop with a pill. I mean, I take pills. We all take pills. Mm-hmm. But you don't just stop with a pill. You keep on going. And the doctor is on a controlled schedule. I mean, insurance only pays the doctor so much. The doctor can only spend so much time with you. Otherwise, financially, the system doesn't work. But that doctor always knows outside professionals who can help you if you're willing to spend the money yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that makes all the difference, right? Because then you're taking an active part in this, and I guess you're kind of bouncing off the expert, the professional, to help you work your way through these want tos and have to kind of questions.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, so in this case, we're looking at the pill as being the emergency treatment. Mm-hmm. In my case, we may be looking at the extraction as being the emergency treatment. It is the first step. It's what do I have to do? I mean, it's the same thing as what happens if you have a leak in your roof.
Sure.
All right, what do I do right now? I got to put tarp on the roof. Well, what's the next step? Is it just replacing the roof, or do we have to replace the structure under the roof in order to be able to make things work? You've got to take care of the emergency first and keep yourself healthy, and then you can make the long-term decisions after that's taken care of.
That makes sense. So let me, because John Harper, who is faithfully in the control booth, we were chatting a little bit. He's got a question, actually, also a little bit as we're covering this whole topic. So, John,
thank you, Kerry. Lee, I had a question about what we are seeing along the countryside, so to speak, here in America, and that is what I call the dentist in a box. A lot of dental services are popping up all over the place in shopping malls. There was one that opened near me next to a Cumberland Farms gas station. In fact, they just opened last week. What is the feeling in the dental community, since many of the dentists are locally owned and operated? What does the community feel about what I call the dentist in a box? What's your opinion on that? There
are lots of different opinions, and of course the dentist in the box could be the great dentist who's trying to accumulate enough money or paying off enough debt, John, in order to be able to open up his or her own practice.
I kind of thought that, yeah.
You're working for a corporate outfit. There are some corporate requirements, but still, the dentist has the opportunity of creating an environment that could be perfect for you. You may like it. You might find that those dentists change, and so the dentist you got the first time might not be the dentist you get the second time, because there's still there's a desire to get out of corporate and to open up your own practice, open up your own business. I think it depends upon what you need and what you want. Obviously, people come to us for second opinions from those kinds of places, as well as from private practices as well. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it, and I think it does serve society very well. Depending upon the level of dentistry that you want, then you should determine which dentist you go to. The dentist in the box will provide upper level services as well, and so then you have to. Unfortunately, you have to look into qualifications to determine whether, in fact, that dentist is best qualified to treat you for advanced disease like periodontal disease, root canals, and that type of thing.
Lee, do you ever see a point in time over the next, let's say, 25 years in which the locally owned and operated dentist will be eliminated by these dentists in the box?
Yeah, I think we're definitely, we've got a corporate trend going, and that's going to continue. There are many dentists who are my age who are selling out to corporate entities, and the corporate entities are then taking them over and taking over the business aspect of it. I think within dentistry, as opposed to medicine, well, maybe not as opposed to medicine, but because you do have concierge medicine as well, you as the consumer will pick an upper-level dentist, if you will, a middle-level dentist, or a lower-level dentist. But I think you're going to see, or an upper, middle, or lower-level group. But you are going to see that even practices like mine, which was a single practice, now there's three of us, you'll find that we'll likely be expanding as well to provide upper-level services with upper-level practitioners. So I think the dentist in a box may very well become group in a box, and then you have to pick the group that you want to go to.
Kind of interesting, Lee. As you mentioned, going the corporate route is the path that many dentists are taking. I guess you could say the same about the medical community with the walk-in clinics that you see on almost every street corner. You see it in virtually every type of business that is out there going the corporate route, but I feel it's far better to stick with the locally owned and operated dentist, such as yourself. You've been in business here in Brevard County for decades now, great reputation, and at the same time, you know what you're doing and you can do it all. Versus I would have some hesitation about the dentist in a box as far as some of their abilities and whether or not they can perform the same types of dentistry that you and the other gentlemen in your office do as well.
Yeah, and it becomes more, when you're looking in healthcare, you've got somebody who's been vetted by, if you're going to go get a hospital service, you've got somebody who's been vetted by a credentials committee, so that you'll get heart surgery done by a heart surgeon. It's a little bit different in dentistry, and so the buyer does need to look, and that's the reason why second opinions are so important. People could see me and might see somebody else for a second opinion as well, and understand what the services are, and not only what the services are, but the qualifications of the person who provides those services. That's important.
Yeah, no, this is a great discussion that we've been having on the have-tos and want-tos of dentistry. We've got just a couple of minutes left. Before we close out, I want to make sure, Dr. Lee Sheldon, that we get your phone number and contact information out for two reasons. Number one, you're also the home of Helping Seniors, in terms of Helping Seniors, that charity program where people can come in, write a check to Helping Seniors, get a comprehensive overlook so they can start to sort out those want-tos and have-tos. And also that you're, like we talked about at the opening of the show, a Helping Seniors car raffle ticket pickup point. So
we're helping seniors everything, aren't we?
I'm all for that. We applaud that. Thank you.
You just write a check to Helping Seniors. Write a check for $50. Just bring that check with you, and you get the exam, the CT scan, everything. Just drop off the check for $50 to Helping Seniors, and we'll forward it over to Kerry, so that it goes to the right place.
No, that's great. And how do people get in touch with the office? Let's go through the phone number.
321-259-8000.
And you also have a pretty robust website too, right?
Yeah, solidbite.com.
Solidbite.com, and the phone number one more time.
321-259-8000.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Lee Sheldon with Solid Bite. We're getting ready to close out. One quick announcement. We'll see everybody Thursday evening from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're actually going to be out at Friendly's right there on the Indy Atlantic. It's there at the end of O'Galley, right where it all comes into A1A, because Bill Antonetz has a car show, and he has like 50 to 70 cars come out on Thursday evening. So we'll be out there with a Helping Seniors car Thursday evening, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., out at Friendly's there in Indy Atlantic. And then, of course, as we talked about at the start of the show, we'll see you 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Boniface Hires Kia on US 192, and looking forward to that. So we thank you for spending your lunch hour this Wednesday and every Wednesday with the Helping Seniors Group. On behalf of Joe Steckler, our president and founder, Kim Bernard, our education specialist, and the entire Helping Seniors family, thanks for joining us here on the radio. We'll see you next Wednesday.